The Smash roster is one of my favourite parts of the entire Smash series, with the inclusions of new fighters every installment. Never knowing who's going to make it into Smash 6, some fighters don't make it in, either being deconfirmed from Mii costumes, assist trophies, or other fighters from a third-party developer taking the spot, as well as a few other reasons. Welcome to A New Foe Has Appeared, where we talk about ideas for fighters that could possibly happen in Smash 6, if not the future. I'm your host BB8 from BB8's House. As always, let's get into it. Up next. That's right, Hoenn Pokémon Trainer is who we are going to talk about today. Since this is the last episode of A New Foe Has Appeared in 2022, I thought I would do a multi-moveset character. And the multi-moveset character I ended up going with was Hoenn Pokémon Trainer, since I have done Sinnoh Pokémon Trainer shortly after the announcement of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, so I thought, since I've not played Scarlet and Violet yet, but cannot do a Paldea trainer, I thought I would come to one of my favourite regions, that being Hoenn. And I gotta tell you now, I do have two other regional Pokemon trainers on the table, but I'm not saying which regions they are from just yet. And without further ado, let's get into the video, shall we? So for the moveset, I'm going to do each one individually, starting with Mudkip and working the way up to Combusken / Blaziken. So first we have Mudkip, whose neutral special is Water Gun. Just like Squirtle, Mudkip has a Water Gun and as its neutral special, and Mudkip spits out water from its mouth and deals not great damage, but the longer you charge the attack, the more force that the Water Gun has in order to push opponents. For the side special, we have Rock Throw. Unlike Squirtle, Mudkip would end up using Rock Throw as its side special, and similar to how Ash's Rockruff uses Rock Throw in the anime, Mudkip will have some rocks come from the ground as the rocks orbit his face as it aims them in the direction that the attack is going in. And the rocks end up travelling at great speed but deal alright damage. The up special being Surf, Mudkip would end up using the Surf as its up special. When used, a wave would appear under Mudkip's feet, and it will move Mudkip in the angle that the analog stick is facing when this move is used. And this move does deal damage, more damage than Water Gun, around 15 to 20% average per use of Surf. And the down special would end up being Switch to Grovyle or Blaziken. Performing this move, you will switch from Mudkip to either Grovyle or Combusken, depending on what alternative costume you are using. If female, your arsenal will consist of Mudkip, Grovyle, and Blaziken, and if male, your arsenal will consist of Mudkip, Combusken, and Sceptile. The final smash I will get to last, because once I've talked about the movesets for Grovyle / Sceptile as well as Combusken and Blaziken, I will get to the final smash. For Grovyle and Sceptile, the neutral special, we have Energy Ball / Bullet Seed. You might want to ignore this one because I did manage to just screw up while I was doing research, because I did put here that Grovyle can't learn Bullet Seed. That was actually a mistake. But I did do a looking into while I was coming up with the movesets for these guys. I thought it can perform Bullet Seed, but this is a mistake, so just ignore it. So for the neutral special, if you are Grovyle, Grovyle would end up using Energy Ball as its chargeable attack. Since Grovyle can't learn Bullet Seed, but Sceptile can. Yet again, that's a mistake. Grovyle will charge a ball of energy, which the impact of the ball will depend on how long it has been charged for. The longer the opponent will be stunned, for which it does leave Grovyle an opportunity to attack the opponent before its stunning effect wears off. And if Sceptile would end up using Bullet Seed instead. And Sceptile inhales for a few seconds. As the button is released, it dispenses seeds that don't cause the best damage, and the move will be similar to Bayonetta's neutral special. The side special, we have Leaf Blade. Since both Grovyle and Sceptile can know this move, I didn't really alter this move depending on the Pokemon for its side special, so I thought one of Sceptile's signature moves needed to be in this moveset. So I did choose Leaf Blade for the moveset, because I know how important to Sceptile this move is. The blades on his arms will glow and expand as he lunges forward and slashes at his opponents. If Sceptile or Grovyle makes contact with this move, it will immediately perform it for a second time, and the damage will depend on if you are Grovyle, which causes okay damage, or Sceptile, which does cause great damage to opponents when used. The up special would end up being Leaf Storm. A cyclone of leaves will surround either Grovyle or Sceptile in order to propel them upwards. The leaves will dispense as projectiles, and doing minimal damage to any nearby opponents. And the opponents can get caught in Leaf Storm, so be careful when approaching either Grovyle or Sceptile in battle, because each individual leaf can cause about 2 to 6% damage. And for the down special, it's just the same as Mudkip's really, but instead of switching from Mudkip to either Grovyle or Combusken, if you are Grovyle, you'll go straight to Blaziken, and if you're Sceptile, you'll go back to Mudkip. Yet again, this does depend on which alternate costume you use. For Combusken and Blaziken being the fire-type starter of the Hoenn Pokémon trainer, I thought with Combusken and Blaziken yet being altered again, depending on your alt, the reason I did this is because I couldn't decide if the final stage should be either Blaziken or Sceptile. since both are popular candidates for Generation 3 reps. So I thought, to save me from doing 2 individual episodes of A New Foe has appeared dedicated to Sceptile and Blaziken, I thought I would do them both in the same episode with Hoenn Pokémon Trainer. So I thought I would alter the evolution stage for Combusken and Blaziken as well, only because I couldn't make the decision on if I should use either Sceptile or Blaziken. So, for the neutral special, we have Ember. Combusken or Blaziken, depending on which alt you use, will use Ember. And they fire either a moderate burst if Combusken or a large burst if Blaziken at the opponents in order to deal average damage if Combusken and great damage if Blaziken. And this is a chargeable attack, so depending on how long this attack is charged for, the amount of damage dealt will be greater, but depending on if you are Combusken or Blaziken also affects how much damage is dealt. The side special I went for was Brick Break. Combusken or Blaziken will perform a knife hand strike with its hands, and Combusken would end up using both hands in this case because Combusken doesn't have the power that Blaziken does in order to perform an attack this powerful. If spammed, Blaziken would end up using Blaze Kick after a few times, which does deal great damage. The speed that they use Brick Break in will also depend on if you are using Combusken or Blaziken. When Brick Break is used, you can't break opponents' shields in Smash because you can't deal damage to the opponent, but instead will break the barrier in order to leave the opponent open for attack, similar to how Brick Break can shatter, reflect, or light screen in the games. The up special I went for was Bounce / Brave Bird, because here I didn't make a mistake like I did with Grovyle and Sceptile, because Combusken can't learn Brave Bird. So I did alter the move. And I know I used Brave Bird in Decidueye's moveset 2 years ago, but since Blaziken is a bird Pokemon as well, I thought this would make sense. And if Combusken is used, it will use Bounce, and Combusken will spring upwards in order to recover itself from a falling state. And this move can only be used once before making contact with the ground, and Combusken's up special doesn't deal damage like Blaziken's does. And Blaziken would end up using Brave Bird as its up special. An aura that shapes like a bird will form around Blaziken as it stands in a still position, and then Blaziken uses Brave Bird and skyrockets upwards to the platform, being quite an effective move in recovery and damage. And now that I've talked about all 3 movesets, I thought I would talk about the final smash being Primal Clash. I thought I would end up going different compared to Sinnoh Pokemon Trainer, which kind of like how I did Sinnoh Pokemon Trainer's final smash as Distortion World. For Hoenn Pokémon Trainer, I thought I would do Primal Clash, being a reference to the Pokemon trading card game X and Y Primal Clash. I thought for the art, similar to the artwork of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I was inspired from that in order to create a moveset for a final smash for Hoenn Pokémon Trainer. I was going to get Rayquaza involved, but nah, It's just the two signature legendaries we're going to get involved with, being Groudon and Kyogre. Hoenn Pokémon Trainer will trap opponents by bringing out two Pokeballs, both having Latios and Latias inside. Latios and Latias would deal around 10 to 20% knockback damage, and the trap fighters are then transported to a volcano-like area where they will encounter Primal Groudon and Kyogre. Here, Primal Groudon and Kyogre will face off each other like they do in the Oras poster, and the fighters will end up doing phenomenal damage from this final smash. But if you are Inkling and get caught in the final smash, you're technically done for, because Primal Kyogre does end up dealing a bit of water damage, so characters like Inkling can't swim in the games. So I thought any character that can't swim in their origin game would technically immediately lose a stock from Kyogre's water damage. And once Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre go back to their homes, the cinematic ends and Hoenn Pokémon Trainer returns to the fight. For the alts and the Kirby Hat, Hoenn Pokémon Trainer, like I have mentioned, takes a unique approach, unlike Kanto Pokémon Trainer or Sinnoh Pokémon Trainer, who I previously talked about in A New Foe Has Appeared 28, by swapping out the evolution stage depending on your alt. Because the reason I did this was because the male Pokemon Trainer partner in Masters is Sceptile, and the female Pokemon partner is Blaziken. But not her default alt, but instead her Signa suit from Masters. And like I have said, Sceptile and Blaziken are both popular candidates for Gen 3 reps in Smash, and I couldn't decide between Sceptile or Blaziken when it came to choosing who the final stage would be. So I made the decision by swapping out the particular Pokemon with the alts. So alt 1 would be the default male with the Oras design with Mudkip, Combusken, and Sceptile. Alt 2 would be female with the Oras design, but Mudkip's yellow, while Grovyle and Blaziken have their default colours. And the reason I didn't recolor Grovyle and Blaziken here is since the alt for the female Pokemon Trainer switches the Pokemon around. And I thought I would only recolor Mudkip for this alt and not the other two. Alt 3 would be the shiny alt with male Pokemon Trainer taking the Emerald outfit, with Mudkip being pink, Combusken having red feathers, and Sceptile being Seafoam green. With these alts being based on their shiny variants of the starters. Alt number 4 would end up being green, with female trainer taking her Emerald outfit, with the Pokemon Mudkip, Grovyle, and Blaziken being green. But the thing here is, since two different shades of green have already been used on Grovyle throughout his alts, I thought I would have the benefit of the doubt and use a different shade of green. Alt 5 would end up being Magma Grunt, with the male trainer wearing the Team Magma Grunt outfit, with the Pokemon Mudkip, Combusken, and Sceptile being red, being based on the Team Magma outfits. The reason I did this was mainly because one alt that did come to my attention with Smash Ultimate was probably Pichu's Team Aqua Bandana. So I thought I would reference the evil teams, Magma and Aqua in here, because of the Pichu alt. So for alt 6, we have the female trainer wearing the Aqua Grunt outfit, with the Pokemon Mudkip, Grovyle, and Blaziken being blue, but with Mudkip taking a different shade of blue. Alt 7 would be the male trainer taking his contest outfit from Oras, with the Pokemon Mudkip, Combusken, and Sceptile taking the color palettes of the contest costumes being based on the contest outfit. And with Alt 8 being, yet again, the contest outfit with the female trainer wearing the contest outfit from Oras, with Mudkip, Grovyle, and Blaziken being pink, but Mudkip would end up being purple because Mudkip already has a pink alt in the selection. And for the Kirby Hat, although the Pokemon trainer themselves won't get a Kirby hat based on them, but the Pokemon themselves will. Kirby would end up becoming blue, taking Mudkip's cheeks and fin. For Combusken and Blaziken, Kirby would end up transforming orange by taking its feathers and, of course, the beak from Blaziken. And, of course, for Grovyle and Sceptile, Kirby will become green and will take Sceptile's tail and, of course, the body features that Grovyle and Sceptile have. For the classic mode route, we have Little Root Hero. The name Little Root Hero mainly comes from Little Root Town, being the town you start off in the Hoenn region, and the hero part mainly references your player character. But the pun Little Root Hero actually came from another game that Game Freak had developed, being Little Town Hero, which I haven't really played before, so I thought I would make a pun about this for some reason. So Hoenn's Pokemon Trainer Classic Mode route will have them face off Pokemon from generations 1 to 3, and any generation after that is excluded. And the back half of the Classic Mode recaps the ending of Oras, with Round 4 being based on the Groudon and Kyogre fight, Round 5 being based on the Elite Fours of Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn, Round 6 being based on the Delta episode, and the final round being based on the end of the Delta episode, where you go and fight Deoxys. So round 1, you will be facing off Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Eevee, who I previously talked about in an UFO has appeared 46, Gengar, who I previously talked about in an UFO has appeared 48, Mewtwo, and Kanto Pokemon Trainer, fighting on the Saffron City stage from Super Smash Bros. 64. Round 2, we have Pichu, Togepi, who I'm yet to talk about in the new foes appeared, and Johto Pokemon Trainer, who I'm also yet to talk about in a new foe has appeared, fighting on the Bell Tower stage. Round 3 would end up being Hoenn Pokémon Trainer, Gardevoir, who I previously talked about in a new foes appeared 65, and Plusle and Minun, who I talked about in a new foes appeared 3, fighting on Fortress City. Round 4 will be the Groudon or Kyogre boss. Either one of the two will occur at random, technically being like a pseudo boss if you come to think about it. Round 5 would end up being Kanto Pokemon Trainer 4 times as a reference to Kanto's Elite Four. Johto Pokemon Trainer being 4 times as a reference to Johto's Elite Four. And for Hoenn's Elite Four, we have Hoenn Pokémon Trainer. Each of them you will fight off one by one until they're all defeated. And for round 6, we have a boss returning from Brawl, but with a twist. That being Rayquaza, who will phase into Mega Rayquaza, similar to how Dracula has a second phase within Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And the final round being Deoxys, who I did cover in A New Foe Has Appeared God of War, which there will be a card right there if you want to go and check out God of War. For the Classic Mode boss, I thought I would do what I did with Delphox and make this a pseudo boss. Having one of these two bosses appear at random, kind of like Xerneas and Yveltal, like I talked about with Delphox in a previous New Foe Has Appeared episode. So I thought, unlike Xerneas and Yveltal, Groudon and Kyogre will end up having 2 phases. One being their classic forms, and the other being their primal forms. So for Groudon, you fight Groudon in the cave where you fought Groudon in Omega Ruby. Groudon isn't really a fast boss, but the Groudon fight would work similarly to the Bowser fight from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. The stage has been created just for the boss fight and will be a scrolling stage. Groudon will appear or approach the player slowly using Solar Beam in its path. You can attack Groudon at the right time in order to deal damage to it, and once enough damage has been dealt, it will transform into Primal Groudon, similar to how Dracula has a transformation. Primal Groudon attacks are more effective than Groudon's. Solar Beam is replaced with Flamethrower, and Primal Groudon will sink into the lava in order to reposition itself, since Groudon can't jump. It will reposition itself to either the left, the right, or the background in order to perform a critical Flamethrower attack, and it takes longer to defeat Primal Groudon than it does for regular Groudon. For Kyogre, the Kyogre fight works differently to Groudon, as the Kyogre fight takes place on the surface with raging tides and a storm over your head. And Kyogre will use some moves that the Pokeball Pokemon does, and will also create some impactful attacks by dipping its flippers into the water and dragging its body along the water in order to create some powerful moves. And once Kyogre has been damaged enough, like Groudon, Kyogre will transform into Primal Kyogre. And Primal Kyogre's attacks and deal high knockback but not great damage. For the victory theme, the poses, and the Punch-Out title, the victory theme would end up being Victory Trainer from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. For the poses, I did each individual pose depending to a different Pokemon. So, depending on which Pokemon you finish the match as, there's 3 different sets of victory poses. So, if you win the match as Mudkip, Mudkip will appear, and it's the same for the other two. So victory pose 1 for Mudkip. You see Mudkip in a paneling pool bouncing around, similar to how it does in the Oras trailer. Mudkip then jumps into the trainer's arms and uses water gun at the camera, being a 4th wall breaker of a victory pose pretty much. Victory pose 2, Mudkip is surrounded by a crowd of other Mudkips cheering for it before returning to its trainer. And victory pose 3 is Mudkip runs after its trainer whilst riding its bike and then hops onto the trainer's back and as it catches up to it, similar to the Ruby and Sapphire intro. The defeat pose would end up being, since Mudkip can't clap since it's a 4-legged Pokemon, so I went for Mudkip looking frustrated whilst swimming in a bucket with a few other Mudkips who weren't pleased that Mudkip lost. For Grovyle or Sceptile, either Grovyle or Sceptile will run like a ninja, kind of, and will jump at the height in order to use Leaf Blade at the camera, being another 4th wall breaking victory pose. And you want to thank Pokémon Tournament for a majority of these victory poses, because, you know, if it wasn't for that game, I wouldn't have been able to come up with some. So for victory pose 2, Grovyle would evolve to Sceptile, or if Sceptile is already Sceptile, Sceptile would end up Mega evolving into Mega Sceptile whilst performing a drill attack into the ground. 1 from Pokémon Tournament. Victory pose 3, Grovyle or Sceptile will perform a cartwheel and slam its hand into the ground as some beanstalk vines start popping out of the ground. Another from Pokémon Tournament. And for the defeat pose, Grovyle or Sceptile just stands there frustrated whilst looking at the camera. For Combusken and Blaziken, Blaziken or Combusken perform 3 fiery kicks before standing with its back to the player. And victory pose 2, Blaziken or Combusken punches twice to the side before turning and facing the player at an angle. Victory pose 3, Blaziken glows an orange before stomping down and unleashes a tornado of fire around it. When the tornado recedes, Blaziken stands with its arms crossed. And the defeat pose would end up being Blaziken or Combusken stand frustrated whilst clapping. And the punch-out title being wants to expand the land and seas. For the Amiibo, Hoenn Pokémon Trainer would have not 1, but 6 different Amiibo. Each Amiibo would behave differently, each being locked to a specific Pokemon, meaning that that Pokemon can't switch throughout the fight apart from the Pokemon Trainer Amiibo. So for example, if I tapped in Mudkip into Smash Bros, that Amiibo would be locked to Mudkip the entire match, but you can't swap Pokemon whilst the Amiibo fighter is running, which means each of the 5 Pokemon would have their own final smashes developed just for this. And the comparable games would end up being Super Smash Bros, where you can tap in any of the 6 to summon a fighter you can train. Pokemon Unlimited, tap to battle any of the 6, but Hoenn Pokémon Trainer Amiibo just allows you to battle Hoenn Pokémon Trainer, and once you have finished, you can give a team to him that you can use in the battles. To Decidueye the Wrath of the Forest, you can tap in to summon companions of the Hoenn starters. Greninja the Shadows of Kalos you can just tap in to unlock new gear. Plusle and Mine Attack of the City, new colour palettes. Pichu's Adventure, unlock skateboards themed after Pokemon. Pokemon Origins Latios and Latias, which is a new spin-off idea I'm bringing up. And Delphox, the Houses of Agrexmoth, where you can tap in Mudkip, Grovyle or Combusken to unlock a new student for your house team. And you can tap in either Sceptile or Blaziken to unlock new classes with a variety of lessons with Sceptile or Blazikens as the professors. Or you can tap in Hoenn Pokémon Trainer to unlock a new opponent to face off in the Agrexmoth arena. For the stage, I went with Hoenn Battle Frontier, being from Ruby and Sapphire. In Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the Battle Resort exists, where the Battle Frontier was in Emerald. However, there are some other references to the Battle Frontier in here. In the Battle Mazen, a man mentions that the Pike Queen has been scouted and asks if anyone else meets Scott's expectations. A model of the battle tower is situated north of the Battle Mazen with a sign next to it dictating it as the first Battle Frontier facility to be built in the future, and a remix of the music for the Hoenn Frontier Brains is used as the battle theme for the battle Chatelaines, but in Smash Bros, the Hoenn Frontier would end up having multiple transitions based on its different facilities. For the support fighters, I went with Nuzleaf and Seedots. If you don't know what support fighters are, I would advise you go back to A New Foes Appear God of War to get an explanation of this. But for people who've already seen it, just carry on. So, Nuzleaf would end up using Double Team to duplicate itself up to 5 times. And then the Nuzleaf would end up commanding some Seedots to deal damage to opponents, whilst the Nuzleaf used Leaf Blades at opponents. And once enough damage has been dealt to opponents, the Nuzleaf all disappear and the fight carries on. For Loudred, when Loudred is summoned, Loudred would end up using Roar to summon opponents, and this move is quite effective since Loudred is quite a loud Pokemon. And once the opponents have been stunned, Loudred would use Astonish in order to deal damage to opponents. And for Hariyama, once Hariyama is summoned, Hariyama would use Arm Thrust to target an opponent. The opponent targeted will be treated with multiple close combat attacks, which do deal great damage. For the music, we have setting out on a journey in the Hoenn region, opening movie 2, the title screen main theme, Little Root Town, Birch Pokemon Lab, Battle Wild Pokemon, Route 101, Battle Trainer Battle, Petalburg City, Route 104, Petalburg Woods, and Team Magma appear. For the spirits, we have male Hoenn Pokémon Trainer, female Hoenn Pokémon Trainer, with their contest outfits as well. Mudkip as a fighter spirit, Grovyle as a fighter spirit, Sceptile as a fighter spirit, Combusken and Blaziken also being fighter spirits, Torchic, Trico, Marshtomp, Swampert, Nuzleaf, Seedot, Loudred, Hariyama, Kyogre, which does enhance into Primal Kyogre, Groudon, which does enhance to Primal Groudon, Rayquaza enhances into Mega Rayquaza, Jirachi, and Deoxys. For the reveal trailer starts off with Kanto Pokemon Trainer in the Hoenn region, as Kanto Pokemon Trainer sees a poster for the Hoenn Pokémon League. So, Pokemon Trainer works their way up, going around Hoenn and beating all of the gyms. And Pokemon Trainer then makes it up to the Elite Four, and when it came to the final battle, a mysterious figure is just standing there. Kanto Pokemon Trainer then challenges this mysterious figure to a Pokemon battle. He starts off with Charizard first, as the mysterious figure unleashes its first Pokemon, revealed to be Mudkip, surfs in, and then it shows gameplay for Mudkip fighting Charizard. With Charizard down, Pokemon Trainer unleashes Ivysaur in order to make a type advantage, but the mysterious figure then unleashes another Pokemon that is revealed to be Combusken / Blaziken, fires up the competition as it shows gameplay for Combusken and Blaziken smashing Ivysaur, and then one more Pokemon is unleashed from Pokemon Trainer's arsenal, being Squirtle. And then the mysterious figure then unleashes its last Pokemon, being Grovyle, and or Sceptile makes the cut. As it shows gameplay for Grovyle / Sceptile, with Kanto Pokemon Trainer being defeated, the mysterious figure is finally revealed to be Hoenn Pokémon Trainer conquers the elites. And then it shows gameplay for all three Pokemon in action with the Pokemon Trainer gimmick. And then the gameplay ends as the screen fades to white and the screen splashes Super Smash Bros. Times Pokemon. So guys, what did you think of Hoenn Pokémon Trainer? I do apologize for the late one, because the original recording I accidentally deleted while I was transferring the big video I have promised, which is coming on the 23rd of December, so don't forget to tune into that, because my major priority over the past while has been that video. So here we are now. We have the video done, but I did upload it a day late because I accidentally deleted it. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another New Foe Has Appeared video like this one. A New Foe Has Appeared will be returning in January of 2023, but unfortunately this is the last New Foe Has Appeared episode before New Year's Eve and Christmas, and we do have a snippet right here on who to expect in the month of January. So I will see you all in 2023 where the New Foe Has Appeared, and don't forget to tune in to that big video we have coming on the 23rd of December. BB8 out.